Dun dun dun. Oh, it's 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. Hello, everybody. So I am going to sit here and hang out for a minute and wait for everybody to start checking in. So make sure that you have all of your supplies. And I'm going to share this event while I'm waiting for you guys to all tune in. And let's see how many people we get tonight. So you're going to get a side view of me for a second, so hopefully that's okay. So hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me tonight. So if you are just now tuning in and you don't know anything about me or who I am, my name is Danielle Rimbert, and I am the owner and operator and artist of the business Rimbert Illustration, located out of Port Orchard, Washington. And so I provide art services all over Kitsap County. I paint murals and windows for people. I've been doing commission art for over 20 years, and I teach paint and sip classes, drawing and painting classes all over the area here, and people hire me for commission work, logo design. I've created coloring books, comic strips, flyers, you name it, I've probably painted or drawn it. And what I have decided to do is because, oh yay, hi Arrow, thanks for joining. I love seeing you guys comment, so please wave or drop a hashtag Rimbert Illustration or hashtag supporting Kitsap businesses, and just, you know, to show your support. Just you being here is super cool. So if you don't know the state of things, as far as public events happening right now, they're pretty limited. A lot of people are being advised to stay at home and be safe. Hi, Michelle. So things are pretty crazy, and for the safety of all of our neighbors and our community, thank you, Becky. You're awesome. I appreciate you. For the safety of our neighbors and for the benefit of the community, I decided I can't go out and teach a bunch of painting classes, so why not do a live video and try and teach you guys online? That way I can reach further than just Kitsap. Thanks, Jessica. I appreciate it. Yay. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to do some really basic drawing and painting. And if you were not able to check ahead of time, I was hopefully, oh, I like your hashtags, Jessica, flatten the curve. Yeah. I supplied a supply list. I'm just going to go over that really quickly with you guys. You should have a pencil. It doesn't have to even be sharp, just a nice dull pencil. You should have a pen or a black marker. Sharpie works good. Any kind of paintbrush. I've got two different types of paintbrushes. I've got a little flat one and I've got a little round brush. So this is called a flat brush. This is called a round brush. What do they do in the makeup videos? Like this? Okay. Is that cool? Okay, I got a pair of scissors just in case I need to do any safe cutting. And I have a ruler. Dun, dun, dun. You don't need this, but if you feel unsteady with drawing straight lines or you want to cut and create some cool stuff, the ruler is the way to go. Hey, if you guys know somebody that would appreciate having a free art lesson, be sure that you share this video out so that we get more viewers, because the more the merrier, right? I have a little water bowl for cleaning my brush. I've got a bunch of paint, and I have a little plate or a little palette for when I'm mixing paint later. And then I have my art projects. So we've got about 13 people viewing right now, which I'm super excited about. I'm just going to see if I can share this video out to my main page just here real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, thank you for waiting for me. Get that out and let everybody know that we are going live tonight. So what I wanted to do... Cool. Hi, Misery. Nice to see you, girl, watching. Thanks for tuning in. So the cool thing about most of my classes is, yes, I do a lot of paints and pints at breweries, but the breweries that I am at most of the time, like 95% of the time, are family friendly. And most of the art classes that I teach, the painting or drawing techniques that I teach, are for all ages. My 6-year-old comes and paints and draws with us all of the time. So she's like my little cheerleader, and she comes and tells everybody good job and thanks for coming. And here we go. But what I'm saying is that you don't have to have 20 years of experience to paint with us. You don't have to be a certain age or anything like that. I try and walk you step by step through the process to make things as easy as possible for you and your level. And since I'm able to see the comments, oh, thanks for all the love, guys. I appreciate it. Since you're able to see all of the comments, or I'm able to see all the comments, you guys can ask questions while I'm painting and drawing here, and I can help you. Don't be afraid. Even the benefit of being online is, yes, other people can see your comments, but you don't have to look them in the eye, right? So that's probably no big deal. So let me share this out to the main page, and then we're going to get started. So does everybody have their supplies? Just say, yes, 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 I have my supplies. I'm ready to paint. So I know that everybody's ready to go. And how many of you guys have kids? If you have kids tuning in, let me know too. That way I can even add in some extra directions if you got some littles painting and drawing with you. So let me know, guys. Right on, Jessica. Painting now. So if you know somebody that would really enjoy this video while you're watching, the cool thing about doing the live video is this will still appear on my page, and so you can go backwards and you can, watch it on replay, do a hashtag replay, and, you can pause it, you can rewind it, and, you can share it with other people and let them know. So the reason why I'm doing this class tonight and why I think this is so important is I'm not able to be out in the community doing my normally large group events, but I still wanted to do something that was community involved and bring what I do on the regular basis to everybody out there in the community and beyond, so they could get a taste of what we do. And then when things start getting back to normal, which I hope they do more quickly, you guys can come back out. But this is a cool way to share with you, for us to join in together as a community, for people that might not necessarily be able to afford going out to the classes, but still want to do something cool with their kids or with their friends while they're at home. I want to be able to offer that to you. So free class today. I did put up my PayPal address in the ticket link and on the website. If you guys feel like I'm bringing something of value to you and you want to leave me a tip, I'm not going to deny that. But it's not necessary at all. I'm ready to go if you guys are. So we got 23 people joining. I've shared the event, and I want to do some cool stuff with you guys. So are you guys ready to go? Are we ready to get started? Yeah. Okay. So how many of you guys have hands? Raise of hands. How many of you have hands? So if you have little kids, I'm going to do another project here. We're going to start with a warm-up exercise that you can do with your kids, or you can just do because it's fun to, oh, Jack has hands, everybody. To just try with everyone at home. So what I want you to do is I want you to take, oh yay, from Eugene, Oregon. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Rose. That's super cool. Do you have hands? Okay. So if you don't have a hand, you can use a foot or you can use something else. But what I want you to do is I want you to put your hand on your piece of paper, and I want you to trace your hand. Okay. So if you have littles, help them trace their hand, or you trace your hand just in the center of the paper with your pencil. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. That's your first step. Okay, so we're starting with a couple of just easy drawing lessons. This is also an optical illusion. So I'm just going to show you guys what that looks like. Can everybody see that? My pencil is kind of light. Can you see that I've traced my hand here? Okay, so I'll wait for yeah, high fives. We should come up with some cool emojis for that. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Rose. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so our first step for our warm-up exercise for doing optical illusion drawing tonight is we are going to trace our hand or our foot on a piece of paper in the center of the paper with our pencil, okay? And so what I like to explain to people is when we're doing drawing and painting techniques, the idea behind what you're trying to put on the paper is you are always creating an illusion. Whether you're painting a scenery, you're painting a portrait, whether you're painting, a coffee mug or whatever. So in order to create the illusion of dimension or depth, you do that by tricking your viewer with multiple colors to represent shade and highlight, or by changing the directions of the lines on your surface, okay? So the first step that we did was to draw our hand on the paper, okay? So the next thing you're gonna do is, does everybody have a ruler? If you don't have a ruler, you can use another piece of paper to do this. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the ruler and you're gonna draw lines across your paper, except for when it comes to the hand, okay? So you're gonna draw, I'll draw a couple of lines so you guys can see. So you wanna make sure that you draw them, about equal distances apart, but all parallel. Does everybody know what parallel lines are? I don't know. I guess we're gonna learn here real quick. So here, let me turn my camera down so you guys can see. Can you see this or not? Let me know if you can't see this. Okay, so actually, here, I'm gonna have you look at me one more time, and then I'm gonna do this really quick. So okay, so we're gonna do some lines on the paper. Okay, so I'm gonna do this just to show you. Okay, so can you guys see that? So I'm doing straight lines across the paper, and I want to go all the way across the paper except for, see, I made a boo-boo here, but you can erase that. Just make sure that when you make all the lines going down that you're not going through the hand, but I want you to fill the whole page doing that, okay? Manchester, Washington. Thanks for joining us, Matt. All right, so, how many of you guys have kids joining and painting and drawing with you guys today, too? Yay. All right. So, I don't know about you guys, but I have a 6-year-old at home, and she is super bummed about not being able to go to school. And my daughter is the most social 6-year-old ever, and so not being able to see her friends and not being able to get out of the house and say hi to strangers and all that stuff is kind of hard for her to do. But yeah. Oh, hey. Hi, Jody. Thanks for joining us. Bremerton, Washington, representing. Right on. I do a lot of classes in Bremerton, you guys. So if you have not been to any of my classes before, I do a monthly schedule on my Facebook page, the Rimbert Illustration Facebook page. You just go to the page and under events, you check out the schedule, and I do classes in Bremerton and in Port Orchard and in Gig Harbor and Paulsbo and Kingston and pretty much everywhere. People hire me to do public events, and then I also do private events like team building, exercises, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. Jody, for those kiddos, you want to have them take a piece of paper and trace their hand, and then you're going to take a ruler or another piece of paper so they can get straight lines, and you're going to draw straight lines all the way down the paper except for on the hand. So you see how it goes from this side here and then ends over here. So every time you're about to, that's why having a ruler helps do that. So you're going to try and do that all the way down the paper. It's going to take a minute, so it'll give us a chance to have a bunch of people tune in. And sorry, you got to look at me instead of the paper here for a second. I'll turn it down to the paper in a second. So the cool thing about this is you can do this exercise in pencil, and then if you have like highlighter markers or whatever, this technique works really good with highlighter markers later on. You can play with this with your kids, or as a grown-up, you can do it. Or you can try it with paint too. It's a little harder to get the smooth lines with paint here. But here, so I have already done my hand. How many people have traced their hand and done all the lines on their paper already? How many of you guys have done that already? I'm going to sit here and hang out and wait for everybody to catch up. So we have 25 viewers. That's pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I was really happy for the amount of interest that we had going into this. I think it's really a need and a necessity for us to stick together as a community. And if we've got skills or things that we can do to help each other be entertained, you know, it's our duty to stick it out and help each other do that stuff, because, you know, not everybody is great at coming up with ideas to keep everybody busy, you know. So I just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence here. So anyway, let's see here. All right. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. So how many of you guys are done with your hand? Wave if you're done with your hand so I can see how many people are ready to move on to the next step. So if you guys have any, oh yay, right on, Catherine. If you guys have any questions during this process, or you can't hear me, or I'm going too fast. Hi, Shonda. Thanks for tuning in. Aw, 3 of you guys. Cool. Hopefully I can keep that 11-year-old's attention span. All right. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so our job here is, the first exercise was to trace our hand and do all the lines here. Okay, so this is where we do the optical illusion, okay? The optical illusion part is, remember what I said, we trick our viewers by changing the direction of the line to create a different perception. So our hand's perfectly flat. No, see how the fingertips are kind of round? So what we want to do is we are now going to connect our lines, but instead of connecting our lines with straight edges, we're going to connect them with curved edges. So it adds dimension to the picture. So I don't know, I'm going to turn it down just to see. Can you guys see this? Let me know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first line, like at the top of the finger, and I'm going to connect the lines by adding a curve. So I'm going to connect this one to this one and add a curve. So instead of drawing a straight line, I'm going to make each line that connects the straight edges curved like this. So I'm going to go to the edge here, and then I'm going to go wah. So the thing is, when you make the curves, you want each of the shape of the previous curve. So hold on one second, I'm going to flip it up. So can you guys see this a little bit better now? Do you guys see what's happening? So I start at the top finger, the highest point, and I start connecting the lines. But instead of connecting the lines with a straight line, I want to connect each of the lines with a curved line. So I'm going to do that on every single finger, and as I go down, and then when I get to the hand part, I'm going to do really big curves, but they're going to still be matching the size of, oh, you lost me for a second? Hey, I'm still here. That's good to know. All right, so what I'm showing everybody right now is, so the first step was trace your hand or your foot or something. And then you're going to draw straight lines on the edge of your hand, and then not on the hand. And then the third step is you're going to connect each of the lines on the page. So see here, this needs to be connected now. Yeah, so it's really fun. So it's cool with the pencil. It's kind of boring with the pencil, but you get the idea. So if you do this effect and you use like highlighter markers to layer the colors. So for instance, like in this section here, if I did like a yellow stripe, a pink stripe, a blue stripe, a yellow stripe, a pink stripe, a blue stripe, and I did that all the way up and all the way on the edges, that would be a much longer class, but it looks super cool. And it makes it look like the hand is either raised up off of so when you get to the part where there's fingers that are touching and there's no straight line, you still do a curved line for each of the effects. So the idea here is that when you're all done, it's going to make it look like that hand is kind of curved up and raised up out of the paper or sunken in, depending on which which way you look at it. So see here on the, when I get to this part, I can still match it going down, or I can start to smooth it out as it, let's see here. I can start to, you can start to smooth it out if you want. I think it's cooler if you do the ridged all the way down the hand, but either way it still works. So what do you think so far, guys? Are the directions clear enough? Am I coming across? Everybody can hear me okay? All right, let's see. I'm going to finish up my hand so you guys can all see. Da-da-da. You can even change the curve at the bottom of the hand, okay? The idea here is that if I don't know if you guys can see it as well. I'm doing this like into a camera and trying to stare at you guys and see what your comments are. So your picture should be way cooler than mine, right? Everybody's are way cooler than mine. But anyway, you get the idea. So this is really, oh, hi, Ashley. Thanks for coming on. We're just doing a warm-up exercise, tracing our hands, because it's fun to trace hands. All right. Da-da-da-da. All right, so the first effect is done, okay? That's pretty fun. So what I'm saying is that this can be really therapeutic thing to do. So if you need something to do while you're stuck at home, take your hand drawing and take some markers, and then you can start to trace over your pencil line. So for instance, you could take, you know, like a yellow marker and trace this whole line, you know, on every single line all the way across. Make sure you follow the little bumps. And then you take a pink marker or any colors that you want. So kids can practice that with crayons. They could do it with markers. You could try it with paint, but it would probably be a little bit harder to get the effect. But that's the first one there. So first optical illusion done. Okay. I'm really happy to see all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. That is super cool. I am super excited. So the next effect is this sunken ball here. So look, it's a paper, guys. But if you take this and you kind of tilt it a little bit and you get really close or really far away, it looks like the ball is sunken into the paper. And it's kind of the same effect as the hand, except for if you look at the ball. So the first thing we do is we draw a circle on our paper. So instead of a hand, you would draw a circle. So if you're really not good at drawing circles, you could take a glass or something that you have nearby and you can trace it, okay, to get a good circle. Okay, so my circle is not perfect, but there is a circle on my page, okay? So then the next thing you would do, okay, so we got a circle on there. So the next thing that we want to do is to make this circle look round, we need to create some curved lines to create depth. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a little circle at the top. Okay, you're going to draw a little circle at the top of this here. And then you're going to follow. I'm so glad, Becky. That makes me happy. I hope you're doing okay. Okay, so you're going to take the big circle. You're going to draw a little circle at the top. And then you're going to space out curved lines that follow the shape of that circle all the way down. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys with that. Here, look at this drawing. This is a better idea here. So you're going to draw the circle. Okay, draw the circle, and you're going to draw a little circle at the top. Oh, good, Catherine, I'm so glad you like it. Okay, and then look, I'm going to start at the top of this circle, and I'm going to draw around until I get to the top. And then I'm going to go to the next line, I'm going to draw around until I get to the top. And I'm going to go all the way down, okay? So this will probably work better if I use my marker. That way you guys can see. So I'm going to draw this out in my marker, and I'm going to let you guys draw too while I'm doing that. All right, so like I said, I'm freehanding here. I'm being kind of fast, and so you guys, your drawings are going to be way better than mine, right? Way better. All right, so I want to make sure you go all the way up. Okay, so my circle's kind of wonky, but that's okay. You get the idea here, okay? So I have a circle and I've got all these things here. Nothing has to be perfect in art, guys. It's all about practice and learning and having fun. So circle, and then I did the little circle at the top, and then I slowly traced all the way down. So all of my curves are semi-matching. Don't pay attention to this little curve down there, okay? So for the next step, you can do this in pencil first if you're nervous about creating this effect. But the idea here is, so you can use your ruler too if you want, but we want to make it look like the ball is sunken down, you know, in the page. So what's going to happen is I'm going to start on one side of the page and I'm going to draw a line. And then when it starts to get close to, actually here, I'm going to start, let me start above. Okay. I'm going to start a little bit above the ball. So, okay. I'm going to start a little bit above the ball and I'm going to straight across, and when I start to get close to the ball, I'm going to curve a line going down, okay? And then back up, and then I'm going to go straight across the page again, okay? So here, let me do that in my marker so you guys can see better. And if you need a ruler, use a ruler or a piece of paper, and that'll help too. All right. So what I'm doing, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm laying my ruler down like this. And so I can draw my straight line, and then I can curve it, dip it down, and then I can draw my line like that, okay? So it looks like this, okay? And then you're going to make all of the lines on each side match this shape. So I'm going to draw a straight line here, and then curve it down, okay? And it doesn't have to match up, when you do this, it doesn't have to match up with any of the lines on the ball, okay? It actually works in your favor if it doesn't match, because then it looks like it's sinking down. So I would draw a line here, sink it down, and then I would come up on the other side and bring it across, okay? So I'm just gonna show you like that. So see, I made my first line here, curve in, draw across. Then I'm going to draw another line. It's going to curve down, okay? Then it's going to come up the other side and go across. And I'm going to continue doing that all the way down the page, okay? So when you get to the bottom of the ball, you're going to do something a little different. So you want to make sure that every time you draw a line next to the ball, that it curves in on the edge here. So here, I'll show you. And this is why we practice, people. So if you don't get it right the first time, you can watch the replay or you can do it again, okay? So look, when we get to the bottom of the circle, look at that. When we get to the bottom of the circle, you're going to make it connect and go all the way down, okay? And then you can do one more curved line. And then you can make the line straight again. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so the first line, so I did my circle, and then in pencil, and then you can draw over it in marker. Did a little circle here, and then I did line, line, line. And then my next step was to go above the circle. Okay, do a straight line, and you can use a ruler if you need to. Straight line, curve it down, come back up. So you notice it's much better if your lines are not super sharp. You want them to be soft curves, soft and delicate, like the circle, okay? And then you connect down, connect. You just want to make sure that it looks consistent and is on both sides. Oh, we got a bromance happening in the comments, guys. Hi, Jack. Hi, James. Thanks for watching. All right. Okay, so there's the main idea. So I'm just going to show you again. So Obviously, this does not look as pretty as the original here, but you get the idea, okay? And so the last step is shading. So if you have a pencil, you can use a pencil. If you're really good with blending with paint, you can do this with paint too, but I'm just gonna do it with pencil just to show you guys how to do that part, okay? So in order to make it look like the ball is sinking, yours looks like pasta. Oh, James, I love that you're trying. That's cool. Thanks for joining in. That's so cool. Thanks for being supportive, guys. Okay, so you need to make sure, so anytime there's a shadow, you need to make sure that you remember shadows are behind and underneath. So if light was being cast on this ball, it would be on the top. So there would be no shadow on the top of the ball. It would only be underneath or along the sides because it's sinking down. So if you're really good at shading, this is what I want you to practice maybe on the bottom of the paper first. So practice shading, making like a really dark shade, and then gradually getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, okay? See how I did that there? So I want you to practice that. So push as hard as you can and go back and forth from right to left, make it really dark, and then gradually use less pressure, less pressure, less pressure until it's almost invisible, okay? This is called a gradient, okay? And so we want to create a gradient underneath our ball. So I would go dark, 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 okay? And start shading underneath. And then I would gradually make that get lighter. And I'm going to do that all the way underneath. So dark, 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 gradually get lighter, okay? Dark, 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 dark. See how I'm doing it in little sections? Do what's easiest for you, but for me, I think it's easier to work in little sections. And shading, let me tell you, is not always easy, okay? So it's all about practice, and that's why we do the classes, is so that you guys get exposed to something different that you've never done before, and you can try and get better. And when you do the live classes, you can try and get better in the privacy of your own home. So isn't that cool? So when you're shading though, you want to also kind of make sure, like if I'm shading on this side, I want to make sure that my shading kind of goes in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to put this down on the right here, and I'm just going to start shading away, okay? So I just want to do along the bottom for now, okay? Oh, you have a mechanical pencil? Good trick, Jessica, is if you're using a mechanical pencil, make sure that your lead is short, and then instead of pointing your pencil, like people instinctually want to put their pencil straight up and down, even though it's a mechanical pencil, try and lay it as sideways and as flat as possible, okay? So that way you're using the side of the lead rather than the point, okay? Because that way you're going to get a softer finish. And I'll tell you another cheat. If you want to, you can also kind of rub it with your finger. Ooh. You can rub the lead with your finger, and that'll kind of soften it up too. So try that and see if that helps you, okay? So I'm just going to keep showing you. So I want to at least do the bottom half shaded like this on the circle to start. And the darker it is near the edge, the better, okay? And the cool thing is if you drew this in marker, it doesn't matter how much you color over it with pencil, you're still going to be able to see the marker, okay? What do you guys think? Is everybody able to follow along okay? We doing all right so far? Am I fired yet? Fired from the free class? All right. So I've been doing paint and sips in the area for over 6 years, and it's amazing to me that even though I've done them for so long, I still, at every single class, I have new people all the time. We live in a military town, and people forget that we have like this rotating population of people that are coming together, or that coming into the area. They need stuff to do. They're looking for gathering spaces. They're wanting activities, and it's a really cool opportunity for people to meet each other. Also, when you're shading, don't I was gonna say, what I like to do is I like to start at the circle and then blend away. But I mean, I guess everybody develops their own technique. If you feel like it's easier to point at the circle and then lay the pencil, see how I'm laying my pencil flat? Oh, you lost me, Becky. That's good to know. Man, I don't know what's going on with the Facebook signal. I'm hoping that I'm able to keep everybody in here. Hi, Becky. Thanks for coming back. I'm sorry that if I'm cutting out, let me know. Oh, thank you, Ashley. Are you drawing too? Does your circle look like pasta, like James's? All right. Okay. So we're getting nice dark shadows, and if it's not quite dark enough, you can always go back in and make it more dark. Okay. So what I'm showing you here is see, I started to get the shadow in there. So I'm going to do that all the way around the circle except for this top area, okay? So you're going to do the shadow really dark next to the edge and then gradually make it lighter like it's disappearing, okay? So if you're nervous about doing it on the circle right away, like I said, practice like on the bottom of your page. Go really dark, push really dark, and then practice gradually shading and going down the edge. That's called a gradient, okay? Oh, that's good. I'm glad that wave is at its best, huh, Jessica? Good. Hey, did you use the tip where you laid your pencil flat? Is that helping with the mechanical pencil? Oh, Ashley, you tuned in a bit late. Oh, that's okay. Yes, please watch the replay. And if you guys watch the replay, do that hashtag replay. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're seeing some friends. That's cool. We're trying to make up some new hashtags, too, for supporting local businesses. Can you guys think of what are some good hashtags that you've seen? I use hashtag Kitsap Working Artist a lot when I'm on Instagram. We have the Kitsap Supporting Local Businesses hashtag. I don't know. What are some fun hashtags you think that we could use to help support local businesses and for people to look stuff up? It's been really cool, I think. I've been following all this stuff online, and it's really cool to see how our community is coming together and really helping people out and really trying to, do things for the small businesses in the area. So I think everybody's doing their part. Hey, Mel. Hey, girl. Hey. I'm glad you could make it. So far, so good. Are we looking three-dimensional yet? Do we have the optical illusion of round sunkenness happening here? Okay, so we want to make sure that we go all the way around until we get almost to the top. So we're learning about gradients. Mel, if you're just tuning in, and I'm showing them how using line, just by changing the direction of the line, can distract your viewer into seeing something and turning it into an optical illusion. And then also by using shadow or gradients, how we can create the effect of depth on our painting. And if you're having a hard time with the blending, like I said, you can use your finger on those edges and just kind of rub it out, or you can use a eraser, okay? So when we get to the top, because there is not as much shadow, because this is the top, we just need to do a slightly softer the ball's gonna roll on the floor. We're so dimensional here. So because we want to make this look like we're using light and shadow, the light is shining on the top of the ball, so we want this to be slightly darker behind it, but it doesn't need to be super crazy. And I'm just gonna make this go, I'm gonna make it a little bit darker, but just in the middle here. So I'm making the gradients go dark to light, dark to light, dark to light, all the way around until we get to about right here, okay? And then we just want this to be slightly darker than the ball, so it looks like it's separate from that. And then we're gonna create just where this little curve is at, where that curve is, we're gonna blend here just to make that a little bit more of a shadow, okay? What do you guys think? Is it starting to look dimensional? Woo! Okay, and then if you want to get a little extra a little extra crazy, you can shadow just the bottom of the ball here. So start at the bottom of the curve on the inside, and then, you know, use curved blending and make this come up just so it's a little bit darker on the bottom of the ball. Oh, your power is out. Oh no. Oh no. I hope it comes back. That's crazy. The wind has been insane lately. So I hope that you are okay out there in Belfair and that you are warm and cozy and happy. And I really appreciate you checking in, Mel. That's really cool. Becky, you can do this. Awesome. Isn't it fun? And so just imagine if you use color instead on this, okay? So I use pencil on this. I'm just going to show you if you want to play and add some color on here. Let's play, shall we? Okay. So, what color do I want to use? I want to use green, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of green. This is acrylic paint that I'm using, by the way. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow because I don't need it to be, or I'm going to put a little yellow, make it so it's not so dark. Okay. All right. So I have my dimensional shadowed ball here. Okay. So what I can do is if I wanted to like paint this instead, I can take, obviously, what would the darkest color on my palette here be? It would be green, okay? So I don't need an insane amount of paint, okay? I can use a little bit of paint, and acrylic paint is pretty thick. See this? Bloop. It's thick. I don't know if you guys can see that. But what you can do is you can kind of wipe your brush off, or you can dip your brush in water, and then you just add a little bit of water to it. Kind of wipe your brush off to thin it out, okay? And then what you can do is you take, so I tell people if you're holding your paintbrush and you're new to acrylic painting, the lower you hold your brush, the more control you'll have, okay? So you want to start at the darkest point, okay? And go from right to left, and then you can start to blend and paint out. And so obviously if we're doing the shadowing where we want this to be a gradient, we need to make it gradually get lighter. And so what I can do is I can add a little bit of yellow to the paint, okay, as I get further down to make that lighter, okay? And I can do that all the way around the edge of the painting. So I would start at the darkest point with the green. And like I said, if the paint is going on too thick or you've got too much, wipe off your brush because a little bit goes a long way, okay? And then as you go further along, you can add yellow because yellow is a part of green. So they are complementary colors. Okay, and then you can gradually start to blend that out so that you still get the gradient, but with color. Ooh. So here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you guys noticed me doing this, but when you're blending, if you're having trouble with blending, the more you run your brush back and forth over the paint while it's fresh and wet, the easier it's going to blend. If you're not having, or if you're having trouble blending, it's probably because you don't have enough paint or you're not running your brush back and forth enough, okay? So see, I can get really dramatic and I can start to take that yellow out to the edge. So we see this here. Is this working okay? Did I lose you guys again? Are we still there? Are you guys just so deep into the painting that that there's no comments? What do you think? So look, I can continue to do this around the edge. So when I'm painting, if I'm doing shadows or gradients, I don't want to paint all the way around the edge. I want to do small sections at a time, especially if you're using acrylic paint, because acrylic paint dries very quickly and it blends best when it's nice and fresh and wet. So the more you do it in small sections, the easier it is, okay? What do you guys think? Does it look dimensional like this? I'm still with you? Yeah, cool, right on. Are you guys painting or are you bored of just watching this part? Are we ready to move on to the next thing? I'm so excited that so many of you guys are viewing here with me today. So be sure to share with your friends if you think this is something that they would be into, if you think that this is something that provides value to you and you want to make a little donation, that's cool too. I appreciate that. I have a little PayPal link in the discussion and like in the ticket section of the event too. So let's see here. What do you think? Is it starting to look dimensional? So obviously as we get towards the top of the circle, you don't need this to be as dark. So I'm just using like yellow with a little bit of the green in there. So I start with the green at the edge. Are you guys able to follow along pretty easily? Are you ready to move on, Michelle? Are you guys following the instructions clearly enough? What do you think? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. How are those kids doing? Are they all painting too? Am I moving too fast? All right. So here's our sunken ball with a little bit of paint added to us. So if you watched earlier, you can see how we do the gradation with just pencil. But if you want to add a little color to your life here, then you can do it like this, okay? Anyway, so almost done, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So you can do this on canvas too. I just chose paper because paper is the easiest thing that people have, you know, accessible to them, but you can definitely do this on canvas too. Hi, Christy. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Da-da-da. All right, almost done, and then we're going to move on to the next project, okay? So the idea here is in order to create the illusion of depth, you need to have a contrast of light and dark, and you need to create what's called a gradient, where you go from dark to light, but gradually, okay? That way it looks like the light is moving across the surface, okay? Rather than just bam and changing all of a sudden, okay? So I think I'm gonna call this, I mean, this could be way more beautiful, but I'm doing it upside down for you guys so you can see. So hopefully it looks okay on the screen. Can I get a thumbs up? How's it going? How's it looking here? Can you see everything okay? So obviously you shouldn't be painting up and down like I'm doing. If you're painting it beautifully and perfectly, you want to make sure that your brush strokes are following the curve of the ball, okay? So curve, 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 okay? So that's the first one. It looks kind of like a croquet ball, doesn't it? That's what I thought, anyway. Da-da-da. All right, so there is our wah, wah, wah. Okay, where was the original picture? So here's what we were going for. This was the sunken ball trick, okay? So if it's on a flat sheet of paper, you can make those curved lines or those straight lines go all the way across the paper so you can see that. I just played and added a little bit of color with it just so we can play. If you are cleaning off your brush, just take that brush, stab to shake all that paint out, okay? I'm gonna get a paper towel and clean it off. Let me get my towel. Oops, excuse me. All right. Sweet. Okay, so for the last project we have here, let's see. Nice piece of paper. Okay, so for the last project, we are going to do the floating ball. Let's see here. You see me? All right. So the idea behind this, does it look like it's floating? Ooh, magic. Okay. So the idea here is to create an optical illusion on paper. So for this project, you are going to need your pencil. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a ruler and a piece of paper again. Okay. So in order to get this effect, we need to do something weird to our floating ball here. Ooh, okay, so first thing that we're going to do is, hi Becky, there we go. Okay, so paper down. So you're going to go down on your paper about 1/3 of the way down, and you're going to draw a line all the way across the top, okay? So I took my paper and I drew a line all the way across the top, okay? About 1/3 of the way down. So this is the third project that we're doing here, okay? And so here's the sneaky part about the floating ball. So here's the floating ball, okay? So this ball is not round. It's actually an oval. So what you need to do is that to create this effect, you need to draw an oval that is twice the length of the ball that you want to create. So if you want your ball to be 2 inches high or 3 inches high, when you make the optical illusion, it needs to be twice as long, okay? So I'm going to put my ruler down on my paper, and if I want my ball to be 2.5 inches tall, I need to put it, let's see, I only want the bottom section of the ball on here. So let's do nice even numbers, okay? So if I want my ball to be 3 inches tall, then I need to do a 6-inch oval, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna put it in the middle of my, or in the middle of my paper, and I'm gonna put the ruler on the 2-inch line right here in the middle. I'm just gonna put a dot at the bottom of the ruler, and then I'm gonna put a dot at the top where the 6-inch mark is, okay? So I'm just gonna show you where that's at. So from here to here is 2 inches, and from here to the top of the paper is 4 inches, okay? So then I'm gonna draw an oval, all right? And so if you're not good at drawing ovals, again, you could use, you know, a cup or something to draw like the curved part of the bottom, but you need the bottom and the top to match each other. So I'm just gonna draw, like I said, not everybody's great at freehanding. You can always pre-draw an oval too, and then place it on your paper. But I'm just going to show you here what this looks like. I'm freehanding this so you guys can see. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so I drew a line about 1/3 of the way here, and then I drew this oval, okay? So this part is about 2 inches, and this part is about 4 inches, okay? So watch, so like when I turn it, the paper, and lay it back, it'll eventually get more round, okay? Like the further back once it's painted. Okay, so that's the first step for that. And then the other step is to draw where I'm gonna put a little shadow. Can you guys see this okay? Okay, for my ball. So I wanna go about 2 inches down from the oval, from the center, okay? And then I'm going to draw a skinny little oval going this way, okay? And you want it to be the size, or a little bit bigger than the circle that you're going to do. So here, I'm just going to do a skinny little oval like that. Can you guys see this clearly? Can you guys see it okay? Okay, cool. All right, so then we can play with paint. So I already have green on my palette here, so I can kind of play with that if I want to. So again, we're going to be playing with gradation just the same way that we did on the last part. So we need to make sure that we find a source of light on our painting, okay? So what we're going to do is, because the shadow is on the right side of the picture, does it look on the right side when I put it up for you guys? I was going to say, oh, well, anyway. So we want our light, this is our shadow, and we want the light to be on the opposite side of where our shadow is at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lightest color on my palette, which is yellow. So if you have only white and black paint, you would be using white, okay? and you're going to paint a small oval in the top corner, okay, of your big oval. Okay, and then you're going to use gradation. So you can just go almost, you can go all the way to the edge even. So go all the way to the edge. Okay. Okay, and then you can do green, starting at the bottom. Okay. And you want to make sure that when you're painting these in, that you're using curved lines. So the lower you hold your brush, the more control you're going to have over it, okay? So if you're using just black and white, you would use white up here, and then you would do black down here, okay? So we're going to create kind of a crescent shape, okay? So this is our shadow down here. Okay, so this is our highlight. The yellow is our highlight. The green is our shadow. Okay, and then we need to have kind of a color in between. Okay, so we need a color that's between the yellow and between the dark green. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of both colors. Okay, our highlight, and this is our shadow. Mix a little bit of the color in between those, and then you can put that in the middle. Okay, and if it's not blending well, it's because the dark green dried too fast, or the yellow dried too fast. You just need to add a little bit more paint to make them blend together. So we added our highlight, and we added our shadow, and then we need our in-between color. And our in-between color is going to go right in the middle of those, okay? So if you need tips on how to make crisp, clean edge, the lower you hold your brush, the more control you're going to have. And then also you want to have a good amount of paint, and you want to push kind of firmly so that you can drag and get good control as you're blending, okay? And then you just want to work your way all the way to that yellow, okay? And then you can start to carry that middle color around the edge, okay? How are we doing on the blending here? Is this working for you guys? What do you think? And if you can't cover up your pencil line, then later just leave a little bit of a space for your oval and draw the straight line, or you can draw your oval first and then draw the straight line on both sides to be able to create that effect there, okay? So if you need to, you can freshen up the blend between these two. So again, like if this middle green is not blending with the yellow, it's because one of the two paints is too dry. So you can always go back to the yellow and then blend it over the top here. Okay, and you want to make sure that all of your paint lines, see, if this is curved, I don't want to be going from right to left or up and down or sideways. I want to make sure all of my lines stay oval or, you know, curved, so that that viewer illusion that you're seeing is that this is a curved object. And so by using directional brush strokes, you're showing them, you know, that's what that is. And then you just take your dark color, so your dark green, and then you can fill in your little shadow down here. Okay. And if you want to add a little bit of the other green, you can, but you want to keep this mostly dark so that that's your little shadow. And then if you wanted to get super advanced with this, you know, this whole space that's supposed to be like a tabletop, you can paint that if you want. But there's that for you. So this is this part. So it looks really weird right now because it's an oval, okay? But what we're going to do is here, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to take it off of here, okay? And then I'm going to take my scissors. Play safe with scissors, guys. All right? And I'm going to cut along the line. Okay? And then I'm going to cut around the oval. So I'm going to go up. Okay, and this is where, like, if your brush strokes got a little bit crazy, which, you know, it happens sometimes, You can clean it up with the scissors. Oh, so satisfying. Okay, and then you're just gonna cut the other side. Okay, so, you know, obviously using thick paper, so it's gonna look like a weird alien egg like this. And then as you tilt it, tilt it back, it starts to float. Woo! So, like I said, I'm painting upside down, so hopefully you guys' turned out better than mine. But you can also clean up the edges, or you can adjust. You can look at your camera when you're taking a picture of the floating ball, and you can, you know, you can add your shadows and your highlights where you see necessary. But that is that. What do you guys think? So let's see. So there's the one I did upside down, and here's the original. Ooh, what do you guys think? Dun, dun, dun. There we go. So we have learned how to trace our hand and make it a little bit dimensional. We made a sinking ball with pencil and marker. Even showed you how to use a little bit of paint to shadow it and make gradients. And then I showed you the illusion of just how perspective, see, you can go from an oval to just tilting, and where you put the highlight and shadow and cut things can make something appear like it's doing something that it's not. So I would love feedback from you guys on how you felt this experience went for you. If you feel like I can do some things different, I would love to hear those things so that I can improve and make this a better experience for you. I will be offering more classes like this in the future to keep everybody busy. You can rewatch this. Obviously, do a little hashtag replay, watch it over and over again, or share with people that you feel like would appreciate it. And I hope that, you know, it brought some value to your evening, and that you had a good time, and it was able to, you know, entertain you guys and teach you something. And oh, yay, in Richland, I really appreciate that. Art does matter, Dory. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. So anyway, so while everything is happening, my events are being kept to a minimum, at least small groups, for the ones that I am doing. I can do live or, you know, or private consultations via video chat. If you guys are wanting questions or lessons, I do sell gift certificates for my paint classes, but I also do other things. So if you know a business that needs some signage or window painting done, I also do murals and logo design and stickers. I have also created a Patreon account that is listed on my main page and on my Instagram, Rimbert Illustration. And Patreon is basically a subscription website where you're able to support me and the content that I provide you guys. Oh, yay, right on, girls. Thank you so much, Dory. But yeah, so Patreon is basically, I have a subscription for like $5, $9. Art lessons from me, a lot of different things, drawing and painting tips. And so if you think that that's something that somebody would enjoy, you know, you can subscribe. I got cut off for a second. Hopefully you're all still with me. Are you still there, guys? Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And I hope you have a good evening. And yeah, keep checking back and see what else. Oh man, I keep cutting out. I see that reconnecting thing in there. Anyway, support all the local businesses that you guys can. Support your neighbors and help the people that can't leave their house. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'm glad that you had fun. It's really important to me to be able to continue to share art with the community. Thank you so much. Hey, Matt, that's awesome. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.